Today we're going to discuss the 15-passenger van safety briefing. My name is Officer Sanborn. I work at Public Safety at Bellevue College. The information discussed today can be found online at the Office of Financial Management Risk Management Division. Who is required to receive this training? Any employees, students, and volunteers operating 15-passenger vans under the direction of a state agency, university, or community or technical college. Minimum driving requirements. You must have a valid driver's license, must be a minimum of 18 years of age. You must have a minimum of 2 years driving experience with any type of motor vehicle, and you must renew or refresh the training every 2 years. Remember, the 15-passenger van does not handle like a sedan. There are some major differences. Some of the differences: the higher number of occupancy increases the risk of rollover. Compared to most cars, 15-passenger vans are higher, longer, and wider. Some other differences: the center of gravity is inherently higher due to its size and shape. As the van is loaded with passengers and/or equipment, the center of gravity continues to rise. When it is filled to capacity, the center of gravity could be as high as the steering wheel. Driving too fast through curves causes a significant shift of weight, causing the van to lean in the opposite direction of the curve. Passengers shift in response to the curve, the tires lift off the roadway, the van flips onto its side. Once the tires leave the roadway, there's little a driver can do. Preventing road runoff, the National Highway Traffic Safety Association, 90% of rollovers, the driver lost control of the vehicle and ran off the road. The van goes off in a rural road. The van is likely to overturn when it strikes a ditch, embankment, or is tripped by an object or runs into soft soil. Again, if the driver is fatigued or driving too fast for condition, a tired driver that dozes off or one traveling too fast for the conditions can lose control of the vehicle. That causes a slide sideways off the road and into a grassy or dirt median, generally causes the van tires to dig into the dirt and overturn. Again, if the driver overcorrects the steering in a panicked reaction or to an emergency or to a wheel dropping off the pavement, drivers are especially susceptible at freeway speeds of losing control, resulting in the van sliding sideways and rolling over. Again, if you do run off the road, first thing to do is slow down, avoid slamming your brakes, ease the vehicle back onto the pavement only after reducing speed, avoid turning the steering wheel too sharply while returning to the road surface. This is a fatal crash that happened in Parachute, Colorado. Now, the reason why Washington State does not have 15-passenger vans anymore, there was a trip that went to Eastern Washington from the University of Washington. They had an accident where their van rolled over, killing several students. So for now, we have 12-passenger vans with a maximum occupancy of 10 passengers. Stopping and following distance tips. 15-passenger vans weighs a lot more, so it takes a lot longer to stop than a car, especially when the van is loaded with passengers and/or equipment. It is recommended 3 to 4 seconds following distance. Greater distances is recommended at highway speeds. Greater stopping distances traveling in adverse weather or poor roads. Lane changing and merging tips. Try to create a space around the van by reducing or increasing van speed. Signal your intentions early. Use the merge lane as intended and as designed. Use the mirrors as needed. Yield the right-of-way when necessary. Again, ask your passengers for assistance to verify maneuvering for merging. Turning tips. Reduce the speed of the van. The turning radius is going to be greater than that of a car due to its length. It takes a lot more room to turn the corners in a van. Again, check if you've never driven a van before. Check the van out early. Drive it around campus a few times. Become familiar with the dynamics of the maneuver. Turning left. You're going to want to start to turn a little further forward into the intersection. Due to the length of the van will have a tendency to take a turn in the diagonal direction. Plan plenty of room in the intersection to avoid striking the vehicle waiting to enter the intersection from the left. Turning right. You're going to want to make a square turn. You're going to move the vehicle slightly to the left so the rear of the vehicle won't rub over the curbs. Again, signal your intentions early. Check to ensure there's no oncoming traffic. If you're on a 4-lane roadway, check the mirrors before merging left to ensure traffic is clear. Again, start the right turn as far into the intersection as possible to avoid interfering with oncoming traffic to the right. Do a last glance at the right side mirror. Look for pedestrians, bikes, or other automobiles trying to squeeze in between the van and the curb. Some backing tips. Backing the van is different from a sedan and requires practice. Drivers should ask passengers for assistance during the backing maneuver to prevent injuries or damage to the agency van or other vehicles. Try to park the van in a spot that allows it to pull forward. That way you don't have to back it up. Before backing, always sound the horn before moving the vehicle. Back towards, if you can, you want to back towards the driver's side. Use spotters. Position the spotters so the driver can see and hear them. Drivers must maintain visual contact with the spotters during the entire backing process. Again, use your mirrors. If there's any questions about obstructions, turn the engine off, get out, and survey the area. Loading and unloading. Position the van out of traffic or the traveled lane. Turn on your hazard flashers. Park the van on a level surface if you can and apply the emergency brake. Never leave the driver's seat when the engine is running. Check to make sure the passenger doors is securely closed. Before pulling forward, make sure all passengers have cleared out of the forward path of the van. Remember, in most vans, passengers will exit to the right side of the vehicle. Parking and securing the van. Parking space, try to make sure there's plenty of room. If possible, that enables the driver to pull forward. That way you don't have to back out. Again, if you're parking on a hill, turn the wheels so the van will roll against the curb. Set the parking brake. Make sure the transmission gear is placed in park. Place chocks under the tires. Chocks are blocks of wood, a rock, or a rubber wedge. Make sure all electrical accessories be turned off, all windows closed, engine shut off, removed, all doors are locked, the van is secured. Mirror use and tips. All in preparation for driving, check the position of the mirrors to ensure proper adjustment. Now, a lot of these new rental vans, they have electronic mirror control, so it makes it very easy to adjust the mirrors. Again, ask the passenger to assist with mirror adjustments if they don't have the electrical accessory. Ensure unobstructed visibility alongside the van. It minimizes creating a blind spot. Remember, properly adjusted mirrors enables the driver to apply the basic defensive driving practice of scanning the mirrors every 5 to 10 seconds, looking at the roadway in front behind while driving. This enables the driver to spot traffic hazards or other conditions and respond to them in a controlled rather than a potential panic manner. Yield to safety. Driving defensively pays off. It's worth the courtesy and effort of giving the other driver the right of way. Remember, courteous driving practices minimize citizen complaints and may also help deter potential road rage incidents. Adverse weather. If the forecast predicts snow, ice, or other adverse conditions for a planned trip, the college might go ahead and cancel or postpone that trip. This is an easy way to avoid risk. If you're already on a trip and adverse weather comes in, make sure you reduce your speed. It's an important safety practice when driving in rain, snow, ice, or fog, or other severe weather conditions. Remember, the posted speed limit is used only when excellent road conditions are present. Wind and curves. Okay, the van is very large, boxy, it's almost like a sailboat. So if you have high strong winds, it's going to be like a sailboat. It's going to try to push you in the other lane. Just be aware of this. Cell phone use is limited primarily to emergency calls. Preferably wait until a vehicle is safely stopped, or ask a passenger for assistance necessary calls when possible. If possible, consume food and drink while the vehicle is stopped or during rest or other planned stops. For driver safety, you should not use tobacco products. That includes snuff you sniff, stuff you put in your mouth, cigarettes, roll your own cigarettes, pipes, cigars, hookahs, no tobacco products. Do not drive under the influence of intoxicating beverages, drugs, or other impairing substances. If you have a prescription that says don't operate heavy machinery, you should probably be at home and not at the college. Do not transport intoxicating substances in state vehicles unless it is in the scope of the driver's official duties. Do not use electronic devices such as cell phones, Blackberries, MP3 players. Try to limit your cell phone use to reporting illegal activities, summoning emergency help, or to prevent injury to persons or property. Do not use earbuds or earphones. That causes an inability to hear emergency warnings. Procedures for reporting accidents. Always protect yourself from further injury. Assist any injured party. Give first aid if you are qualified. Call 911 for medical assistance if needed. Contact Bellevue College Public Safety to report the accident. Always cooperate with local law enforcement. Provide factual information. Limit your responses to the questions asked. Again, you're going to want to provide information about yourself, the vehicle, to the other drivers, name, agency, phone number, VIN numbers. And again, you're going to want to obtain the needed information from the other drivers. You're going to want to collect all this information to complete the SF-137. Try to identify witnesses and obtain addresses and phone numbers. This is what an SF-137 looks like. Do not discuss what happened to the other parties except local law enforcement. Do not ever, ever, ever admit fault to the other parties or make any statements about the state's response to the accident, financial or otherwise. Make sure you report the accident to your supervisor. Have the vehicle towed if it's not drivable. Again, you're going to want to complete the vehicle collision report, the SF-137, if there are any injuries or if damages to the property or vehicle exceed $700. Again, if you have an accident, you're going to complete the State of Washington Vehicle Accident Report or other OFM approved form. If there are any injuries to the state driver, authorized passengers, and or others. Again, if there's any damage to the state vehicle, POV, and or other vehicles. The completed SF-137 must be mailed to the office within 2 working days. Try to get with Public Safety. We can help you fill out that form and make sure it's filled out and mailed within the 2 working days. Last but most important, drive like other people's lives depend on you. They do. Thank you for attending today's training session. Make sure you drive safe and be well.